Should be good.
Good. My lights just flickered in my house. That's a little scary. But welcome back, everybody who's viewing the channel. This is the last part of the tier lists, the yearly annual tier lists that we do. Wrapping it up with the centers today. Last week we did power forwards, and of course we've already done point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards. Um, this centers list was a very interesting list to do. In fact, me and Jacob, up until like 2 minutes ago, did not have our lists finalized. Um, Jacob, do you think you're set on your list now? You think you're ready to go?
Yeah, I'm set.
I think I am too. And I don't expect this list, especially, to be a perfect list outside of like the top 3 or 4 guys who are pretty much mainstays, or at least have been over the past like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
But as you get down lower on this list, you have a lot of guys who kind of make
that's all.
appearances by the year, guys who step up on like a yearly basis as a big. Um, but I'm excited to get to this list today. Of course, after we do this list today, standings is next. I'm so excited for standings. Preseason starts this next week.
Yeah.
Um,
Media
we
day tomorrow.
have one center on our list today. I guess we can touch on the trade that happened whenever we mentioned his name. Talking about Karl Anthony Towns getting traded to the Knicks, because I'm sure we'll have some things to say about that. I have my thoughts. Um, a few days removed from the trade that happened on Friday. Um, but yeah, Jacob, how do you say we hop right into this center list?
Yeah, it was tough. I think outside of the top 3 or 4, maybe. I think
Even
outside of
then, even
even
then, like
yeah
you have one and two. You're gonna have one and two, but even like a case could be made for
3. Yeah,
3 through 5, 3 through 6.
I think 3 through 5 is going to be in some order, but they're like going to be the same set, and then after that, you kind of anything goes after that. But I think 1 through 5 player wise is set.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give me your honorable mentions though.
My honorable mentions, I have Miles Turner and Kristaps Porzingis.
Okay.
Kind of KP this low is mainly because he's going to miss a lot of time this year. I think he's going to miss at least half the season, if not longer. He might come back early, but he's going to miss a lot of time. And if he wasn't going to miss so much time, he would definitely be on the list. But him just having to miss, and he had a great year last year, but just him having to miss kind of maybe want to put him not on the full list completely.
Yeah. Yeah, my honorable mentions, I have 3 that I'm gonna do for this list today. I've got Kristaps Porzingis as well as one of my honorable mentions. Like you said, he's gonna miss significant time, and I expect the Celtics to still, win games in his absence. So I don't think there will be, a
Rushing
rush
him.
for him to come back or anything. So they'll probably err on the side of caution with his, recovery timeline. I've got Jarrett Allen here. I think Jarrett
I forgot about Jarrett. Yeah,
I think Jared Allen was a guy that I had in my top 10 last year. I'm not, sure.
you did. Yeah,
Yeah, it seemed like it. But also I have 3 honorable mentions. Like I said, I have Rudy here. Rudy's going to be outside of the top 10. Like we said with the Karl Anthony Towns trade that went down on Friday. It's going to be interesting to see Rudy being the central interior figure in Minnesota, having Julius Randle and Naz Reid, where I've seen some people come out and say that Naz Reid could potentially start over Julius Randle.
I've seen that he should just for spacing concerns.
Yeah, because if you think about it, having Rudy, Jaden McDaniels, and Julius Randle all on the floor together, it sounds really, really bad. It sounds like Mike Conley and Anthony Edwards are going to have to shoot like 23s a game just to kind of compensate for that, which is not what you want, in a free-flowing offense. But yeah, I've got Rudy here. Um, I don't think offensively he does enough to make up for um, obviously how great he is on the defensive end to warrant him being in the top 10 of this list this year. Maybe in the past, like last year I had him at my number 10. I could have done that again if I wanted to, but there's a guy at my number 10 who I really wanted to highlight, who I think had a really good close to the season, who I think has some really good momentum going into this next season. So yeah, Rudy's just gonna miss it, and y'all know how much of a Rudy guy I've been in the history of this channel. And if you've known me for longer than that, I've always vouched for Rudy. Obviously, he has his flaws, and I'm willing to admit that. But still a great defensive player, transcendent defensive player. But he's gonna have a lot on his plate this next season.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list, and either I've missed somebody completely, or you're higher on somebody than I am.
Did you not have Jared Allen at all? I guess that's the guy. I guess I'll go ahead and say at my number 10, this is where I have Miles Turner. You had Miles Turner as an honorable mention. Yeah. I wanted to highlight Miles Turner. I wanted to put him in the top 10 this year just because of how well he closed the season last year, how impactful he was in the playoffs, especially in the series against the Bucks, and then in the second round against the New York Knicks. He was so huge in both of those series, kind of negating, especially in that second round series, negating the Isaiah Hartenstein, Mitchell Robinson interior duo for the Knicks, which was really huge. Knocked down the three, as we know he can do. Shot 36% from three last year on a little over 4 attempts. He's like the ideal stretch big. Block shots, can be a rim protector, which is the role that he serves defensively a lot of the time.
Right.
Not a crazy good rebounder. He lacks some of the rebounding that you wish he would have. He only averaged about 7 rebounds a game last year. But I think part of that is, playing a perimeter-centric role on the offensive end, where he's not able to get very many offensive rebounds. Most of his rebounds are on the defensive end. But yeah, his shot blocking ability, his shooting ability, he's got all the tools, and I think he's perfect alongside Tyrese Haliburton. He's the perfect big to have alongside Tyrese because he can run the pick and roll if you need him to, run the pick and pop, which is something that he specializes in and knocks down the three very well. So yeah, I wanted to highlight Miles Turner because I thought he was really good to close the year, and I feel like he sat kind of on the fringe of this list over like the past few years. So I wanted to give him the 10 spot this year.
Yeah, he was friend of mine. My 10 is Rudy, and I definitely can see having him interchangeable, especially with like the better offense Miles can bring, especially spacing. I had Rudy higher at first, but like you said, that was kind of before the trade happened.
Right.
And now you got to kind of see how he fits in when you lose a shooter like Cat. And like you said, he's going to be the eccentric big man. And I'm pretty sure Randall would start and bring Nas off the bench more than likely. I don't think
you would think just because of like money too. Randall
money. But we know what he brings defensively. Find his numbers. Yeah, 2 blocks last year, 13 rebounds, 14 points. You're not going to get much else from him. No shooting, no 3-point attempts.
Right. What did he shoot at the free throw line? Do you have his free throw numbers pulled up?
I don't have it pulled up. I can real quick.
I don't think he shoots very many free throw attempts.
I don't think so because he's
not
really just aggressive in the paint to draw fouls.
Yeah, they're not looking for Rudy Gobert to have post possessions.
Unless it's a fade at the end of a shot clock.
Yeah, unless it's Game 7 and you really need him. Yeah. He's your go-to guy. So he shot 64% from the free throw line last year on 5 attempts. So yeah, not very many. Yeah,
so just kind of him defensively. They funnel everything to him basically. I know they have great perimeter defenders now. They did, have had them, but yeah, I don't want to say this will be the last year on the list for him because you never know. But it seems like that to kind of end the every position we do, somebody at the end kind of gets pushed off every year.
Yeah, well, he's also been around for a really long time now. He's how old is Rudy Gobert? He is 32 years old now.
Okay.
32 years old.
So even if there is a decline, but his game really, you wouldn't think it'd be much of a decline, at least not yet. But it could very well see it. So.
Yeah, I think Rudy Gobert is going to be like Brook Lopez on the defensive end, where like the longevity, it continues to be there. His mid-30s.
Yeah.
I think he'll be fine. Maybe he won't be the defensive player of the year level defender, but he will be like an all defensive team level defender for sure.
he'll definitely be one of the guys you want in the paint defensively.
Definitely. Defensive Player of the Year, number 3 for him last year, by the way. We should mention, was it number 3 or number 4?
3, I think.
Yeah, it was number 3. Number 3 for him. So, really good defensive season for him last year. Number 9. I want you to go first here at number 9.
This player was hard to rank. This is why I have Chet Holmgren.
Okay. I kind of figured you would have him right there.
It's kind of hard to rank. He played all 82 games last year after missing his rookie year. 16 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. He shot 53% from the field and 37% from 3 on 4 attempts. He also averaged 2 blocks.
Yeah.
So kind of just that alone, 2 blocks, kind of matching Rudy's and Chet being better offensively. I know 1 year, but you kind of get that sense. I almost moved him up. That's the reason I gave him the edge over Rudy. And I guess bringing in Hartenstein, you'll kind of see what role he plays, which you would think Isaiah comes off the bench, right?
I'm still, kind of 50-50 on it, but I think opening night, I think Hartenstein would come off the bench, yeah.
So he did play great last year, could stretch the floor, finish. The 82 games really would surprise me. I really didn't think, even coming into his rookie year when he got drafted, that he would be able to play that many games. But so, yeah, I think Chet at 9. Thought about putting him a little higher, but I just couldn't rationalize putting him over the other guys. But great rookie year. Well, second year rookie year, whatever you want to consider it. Especially that
technically rookie year.
Technically rookie years, yeah. So you would think his numbers go up. Maybe not rebounding just because of bringing in who you bring in, but do you think he can be a 20-point per game player?
I think so. I mean, it would only take him, having like a 3-point increase. He averaged 17 points last year. So I think it's definitely possible. But yeah, he was so efficient last year in his rookie year, which is something you don't see out of rookies very often. So I think that definitely kind of boded in his favor. But yeah, I could see him being a 20-point per game scorer. So
no, you're higher on J-Dub than some of us. So J-Dub might take his touches. But yeah, Chet at number 9. Kind of couldn't find a reason to put him any higher.
Or OKC could just average 130 points a game. That could happen too.
It might.
Imagine that with their defense. Like they would win every game by 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went a little higher with Chet. I didn't have him at number 9. I kind of figured you would.
I really tried to put him higher. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. I thought about it because at number 9, this is where I have Karl-Anthony Towns. This is where I have Cat.
Yeah, he's my 8.
Yeah, and the change of the role for Cat going to New York. Initially, my initial thoughts of the trade, like right whenever it first happened, were I thought New York was the immediate winner and Minnesota was the immediate loser. Just because, from Minnesota's perspective, Julius Randle is so ball dominant. He is such a ball dominant player. And, with Cat, you could subject him to, a corner shooting role. You could put him on the wing, and he's a 42% 3-point shooter. He's completely fine with spotting up from 3. And I think a lot of the Timberwolves' offensive success, especially in the playoffs, came from that last season. I think he was the perfect player. I won't say perfect player, but he was able to space with Rudy Gobert on the floor, which was really, really important. Rudy Gobert is going to take up space in the paint, and Cat could, suffice. He could still get his own, despite having Rudy patrolling the paint. See, Julius Randle, I don't know if Julius Randle's doing that because Julius Randle loves to kind of catch the ball at like the free throw line area. He loves to play out of the post. He loves to do kind of his pivot shots. He loves the mid-range game. Right. And I just don't know if the same space is going to be there for him this year. But in terms of Karl-Anthony Towns in New York, I like it. I think that the spacing will be great, and especially with a driver like Jalen Brunson, the drive and kick game with him and Cat. I think that fits perfectly. Being on day 3 of hearing the news of the trade, knowing like the financial reasons why Minnesota had to make that trade kind of evens it out a little bit. But still, I really like the fit for Karl-Anthony Towns in New York. I still view New York as the winner of that trade, before seeing the product on the floor, just kind of in theory. I think Karl-Anthony Towns, like numbers-wise, he's playing with so many guys who are able to get 20 points per game now, where I don't know if his numbers, increase or decrease. I'd probably say decrease, if anything. But I feel like he's still going to be able to get his shots. The defensive load is going to be, like, the biggest thing. Because in Minnesota, at least over the last, year and a half, he had Rudy Gobert.
Right.
Last year when they went to the Western Conference Finals, he had Rudy Gobert to patrol the paint. Karl-Anthony Towns, a lot of the time, took on perimeter assignments where players who were kind of put in the corner or on the wing outside of Kevin Durant. He guarded Kevin Durant in the first round series against the Suns for some of the time. But yeah, Karl-Anthony Towns is going to have to be the guy in the paint now. And that may take some readjusting. And he's going up against some really good bigs in the Eastern Conference. He's going to be going up against Joel. He'll be going up against Giannis.
Yeah.
He'll be going up against, having to stretch with Porzingis when Porzingis is healthy. Bam Adebayo. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how he kind of acclimates to being in the East. I think that the possibilities for him on the Knicks are really good. I'm going to put him at 9, though. I'm going to put him at 9 with all that being said, just because I am unsure and I am uncertain.
Yeah. He was my 8. I did think about having Chet over him. I just couldn't do it. And with the trade, my initial thought was Minnesota won the trade. Mainly being Dante going to Minnesota. That was my biggest come away from it. Randall, he can stretch the floor some, but not nearly as good as Cat. And like you said, Randall is ball dominant. But after learning about the financials, I think they definitely won it because this might hurt New York even more financially in the years, which I know we'll probably get into that later on, with standings and everything.
Right.
But yeah, it's a good trade for both sides. And like you said, Cat isn't the best defensively, and now he will have to guard the Embiids, Giannis, Bam. So yeah, him at 9, I have him at 8. So I just don't know. Got to see what the role is in New York, which we know is going to be pick and pop. Kind of. I don't expect him to be in the paint much at all, really. They might leave that. Yeah, they might leave kind of OG in the dunker spot a little bit more, even though he can shoot too. Mitchell Robinson is missing. You know how long he's out?
I don't know, and even they've started having rumors about him being moved too. So
yeah, which I kind of forgot he was going to miss so much time. So the trade does make sense for them.
Right.
And you can, like you said, like with Rudy, you can have both on the floor at one point if you would really want to. But yeah, Cat at 8, and we kind of just got to see what he does in New York.
If you had to guess, just kind of the pecking order of things in New York going into the season, do you think Cat is the second option above Mikal Bridges?
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
That's so crazy that they picked up Mikal Bridges and Cat in one off season. That's actually so insane.
I don't know. I want to say Mikal just because you gave up 5 first-round picks for him, but it don't always work like that.
No, it doesn't.
I think Cat might be the second option, which it'll switch. But I think he'll be the.
I feel like it's just gonna depend on who's open when Jalen Brunson drives.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what it's gonna be. I mean, Mikal, he's learned kind of how to be an ISO player,
right.
which is something that you can't really say with Cat since he's a big and he doesn't put the ball on the floor a lot.
Right.
So I think Mikal definitely has that element of his game going for him.
Mikal will probably be the secondary creator that we've talked about.
Yeah,
but I think the fully second option will probably be Cat.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And even then, it might be matchup dependent because you have teams like Philly that have kind of smaller fours. Well, he'll be at the 5. I'm trying to think. He'd be the second option, but I just don't know what matchup could really benefit from that playing against. Maybe Indiana. Maybe Miami.
Yeah.
Just because they like banning the paint a lot more. But yeah, I don't know. We have to watch and see.
Yeah, I think a lot of it will be dependent on Jalen Brunson, and it might be a hot hand theory thing. Whoever has the hot hand,
Yeah,
just ride the hot hand. They sure can do that now with all the guys that they have.
yeah.
I'll go ahead and say my number 8 because this is where I have Chet. I got Chet at number 8. Got him over Cat. Chet had a really, really good rookie season last year. Like you said, super efficient, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks. I expect him to be even better next season. You know, maybe his numbers don't take a huge jump with all the options that they have on that team. But Chet is so impactful. And if Victor Wembanyama didn't exist, he would have been the runaway rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Like, no question about it. His impact on winning as a rookie on that Oklahoma City team was so, so crazy. And I would not have expected it coming out of Gonzaga. For him to play 82 games, for him to play every game last season, never, ever, ever would have guessed that. And maybe that's something we won't expect for him going forward. I don't expect that for him going forward because that's so crazy for a big man, especially. And especially one of his frame, of his like tall, slender frame. But yeah, the progression of his career is going to be really interesting to watch. But I think he's got a really good career trajectory. I think I kind of liken it to Evan Mobley a little bit, but I think Chet is a little better offensively. I think Chet is better offensively than Evan Mobley is. I'm interested to see if he has like a playmaking element to his game that kind of inserts itself this year. He averaged a little over 2 assists last year. So many great playmakers on that team already, but I wonder if he'll be used as a hub at all. We'll have to see. But the career trajectory of Chet is sky's the limit. So I've got him here at number 8 right now.
Yeah, like I said, I thought about him over Cat. I just couldn't do it. We had him flip flop, but yeah, I definitely see it, and it does help him being in probably the best situation in the NBA front office wise. They probably do have the best front office. Kind of. New York had a good offseason, but they probably do have the best situation. So
for the resources that they have being a smaller market, yeah, I definitely say it.
Right. And even they know when to I don't want to say give up, but they know when to give up on guys.
They know when to give up. They do, which is a good thing to know. A good self-awareness to have as an organization.
Yeah, they won't hold hope and draw it out for a few years. If they know, they know. So.
Right. I expect us to have the same guy at number 7. You have Alperen Sengun at number 7.
Yep.
Yeah, me too. 21 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. Alpi got hurt towards the end of last season, so he missed kind of the end of last year. Rockets were hot, though, whenever he was on the floor, especially early in the year. They were a top 10 offense and defense for like the first month of the season. And he was the catalyst. He was the catalyst of a lot of that. He only was in his second year last year. And as a third year technically.
Yeah, third.
But yeah, in his third year, he was third in most improved player, which I didn't even realize. Great season for Alperen Sengun, though. He is like a big man hub, great playmaker from the big position. His career trajectory is interesting because of all the capable guys in Houston.
Yeah.
Like I've asked a couple times in this tier list and in episodes prior, whenever we talked about other Rockets like Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, and Fred VanVleet, and guys like that, you know, who's the first option on this team? Do you think that they can be a successful team with Sengun as their number 1 option long term? And I think that question is still yet to be seen. I think that this next season will tell us a lot about that, though. I'm excited to watch Houston Rockets basketball. They'll be a top 5 league pass team for me this next season for sure. They'll be really fun. But yeah, Sengun.
There's always that one team. Go ahead, my bad.
No, you go ahead. I wasn't saying anything.
I was like, there's always that one team that people a few years early on that kind of jumps up that next year. We'll see if the Rockets are that team this year.
Yeah, last year, I mean, we were that way about Minnesota and OKC. It's hard to expect the Rockets with the state of the West to be like a top 2-3 seed in the West.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows? Maybe they will. For that to happen, though, Sengun would be a lot higher than 7 on this list. I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Defensively, I have my questions about him because he's not like a great rim protector. He's a solid paint protector, but he's not really a good rim protector. So we'll see if he can continue to develop as a defender. But offensively, I think he's got all the tools. We'll see if he, trajects to be a better three-point shooter. Shot about 30% from 3 on about 2 attempts last season. If he can stretch the floor, I think that he provides that's just another element to his game that he, integrates. But I think he's a really good player as is. Would like to see a full season of him. Like I said, missed like the last month of the season last year.
Yeah, last 19 games.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I like Alperen Sengun a lot.
Yeah. Like you said, it is early to tell, but I do think he will be their guy, kind of where they run everything through. And I know the question has been, do you choose Jalen Green or Alperen Sengun? I think it will come down to them choosing Sengun. Just from kind of seeing what – I'm not saying he's going to be like Jokic or Sabonis, but how kind of the similar play style. So I'm pretty –
He's of that mold, yeah.
Yeah, so you can run the offense through him. And like you said, defensively, question marks. But you can definitely run the offense, run the team through him. So he definitely could be a lot higher. But like I said, it's kind of unseen yet. We have to kind of see if he will actually emerge as that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, like, in terms of consistency, he's definitely the most consistent player on that team.
Yeah.
So, in terms of that, I think that alone probably vaults him into first option territory right now, at least.
Right.
Yeah. This is where things... Wait, say what you're saying?
Pretty sure we have the same 6, too. Pretty sure.
I was going to say, this is where things get interesting. I don't know if we do.
Okay, we'll see.
You go first.
This is my number 6 is we'll have Domantas Sabonis. Different.
No, it's the same. It is the same. But see, it's weird, right?
Right.
He was 8th in MVP voting. Like, I don't know how he always ends up in the top 10 in MVP voting, but he always does. So it's weird for me to have him at like 6 on this list. I had him at my 5 spot for the longest time. I did.
You had him what?
I had him at 5 for the longest time. Yeah. But yeah, I moved him down, but his numbers were obviously great. 19, 14, led the league in rebounds last year. He's led the league in rebounds for the last 2 years now. 14 rebounds a game is crazy. Over 8 assists a game. And he, like Sengun, is the most consistent player on that Sacramento Kings team. He is like what spurs their great offense. De'Aaron Fox is obviously like the catalyst. He's the engine of it. But Domantas Sabonis is the stabilizing force. And yeah, it's so weird to have him at 6 on this list, but there's so many great bigs in this league, so many good young bigs in this league.
It did cross my mind to have him higher. I just couldn't do it. But like the way the offense does, I'm not sure the offense runs through him, but like you said, he is kind of in the MVP voting. I don't want to say every year, but it does feel like that somewhere or like right outside of it. But if Sengun can get to be what Sabonis is, I don't know about better, but if he can get to that, then really great trajectory for him.
Yeah. Sabonis is obviously a better playmaker and a better rebounder at this stage of his career. Right. If Sengun can get to that level, then I think, the Rockets would be on their way to title contention.
I knew he led the league in rebounding, but I didn't think it was basically 14 rebounds.
Yeah, he averaged 4. If you round up, it's 14 rebounds.
Yeah.
That's insane. He's only 6'10". It's not like he's even a 7-footer. He's 6'10" doing that. And a lot of it is offensive rebounds. He averaged like 4 offensive rebounds last year. But yeah, Domantas Sabonis is so consistent. He didn't shoot many threes. He shot just over 1 attempt a game, but he shot 38% from 3. So he can do it if you need him to.
Right.
Yeah, it feels weird having him at 6 on this list, but I guess if we're just projecting and if we're thinking about like how good the Kings will be next season, You know, you combine those two forces and whatever you put it else you put into it. Couldn't put him over number 5.
Yeah, I couldn't either. It did cross my mind a little bit, but not much. 5 is kind of where it gets interesting for me.
Yeah.
So yes, I think I kind of figured we both have him about 6. I figured neither of us could put him any higher.
Yeah, I had him at 5 for the longest time. He is he's not old necessarily, but I feel like we have seen like this is his prime. Like we know like what Domantas Sabonis is going to give you at this point, and it's hard to imagine that he has like another level.
Yeah.
Especially offensively. You know, defensively he's not the greatest. You know, he leaves things lacking, and maybe that's why I had him at number 6 because of the defensive ability of the guys above him as well. So there's that.
Yeah, that's basically. If he was better on defense, be a whole nother conversation, I think.
Oh, for sure. Number 5, though. Top five. Do we have the same number 5?
I don't know.
You want me to go first this time?
Yeah, I hated putting him here, but I kind of had to.
Kinda had to. That makes me think that we don't have the same one.
Right.
So at number 5, this is where I went with the future best player in the league, Victor Wembanyama. This is where I went with Vic. Is this also where you went with Vic?
No.
You went higher.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, I flip-flopped between Sabonis and Wemby at 5 and 6.
Really?
So to hear you go even higher and thinking of who you put him over, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I switched it last minute.
I'm interested to hear how good you think he's gonna be next year. Then.
Yeah. So I'll let you go, but yeah, he's not my 5.
Yeah, Wemby, obviously rookie of the year, 21 points,
yeah,
11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2.5 blocks. Efficiency with Victor Wembanyama is going to be interesting to monitor throughout his career because he only shot 47% from the field last year, shot 33% from 3 if you round up, and he only shot 5 free throws. Yeah. The biggest thing in year 2 that I'm looking for is the jump in efficiency and free throw attempts. Those are the 2 things. I feel like if he improves on both of those 2 things, he'll obviously be an all-star. Yeah. Definitely think he'll be an all-star. But I think if he improves on those things significantly, then we're talking all NBA territory in year 2, regardless of, if the Spurs make the play-in or not.
Right.
So defensively, we know that for a lot of years to come, he's going to be in Defensive Player of the Year talks.
3.5 blocks.
3.5 blocks. Wow, I was a whole block off. Yeah, led the league in blocks. You kind of expect him to every year of his career.
Yeah.
If we're projecting, he might have a better season than the guy I have at number 4, and I think he will.
Who's your 4?
You want me to go ahead and say?
Yeah.
I have Bam at number 4.
I had Bam at 5 and Victor at 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured you didn't go higher than 4, but I was like, he might surprise me.
Yeah, 3.5 blocks. So since we know, we can kind of go deeper into it. The Bam is one, if not the best defender in the league. Guard 1 through 5.
Right.
And
he shoots threes now.
Yes. We'll see. Seems like it, but we'll see.
He shoots threes now. I'm gonna go ahead and set that in stone. He shoots threes now. That's part of the reason why I put him at 4, because I think he'll shoot a lot of threes.
Okay. See, that's one of the reasons I kind of had him a little bit lower, because what Vic can give you on defense, plus what he can give you on offense, which we do, his rookie year, so we kind of see, like you said, we'll see if he can get more efficient. Vic is 7'4", shooting almost 6 threes a game.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, what can you do about that? And obviously we've seen the plays, the highlights. I didn't think he'd play 71 games.
Right.
Which it does help that I remember when that was like all hype beginning of the year. he didn't play over 20 minutes that much starting off. They had him on minutes restrictions. So if you think they might still do that this year, but even if you think they don't do that as much, he shot 46% from the field on almost 17 attempts. You would think it could go up, but since it being the Spurs, you really don't know.
I think a lot of it is just like his shot catalog and his shot selection.
Yeah.
Like bro, if you're getting like 12 shots at the rim per game, you're making like 8 of those and you're going to the free throw line so much more.
Right. So that's kind of the – and I really, really hate Bam. Bam – I don't think I ever said it on here, but Bam is one of those players when Joel Embiid was in trade talks that I would be fine with doing. It'd be more. But he was like one of the centers I'd be fine with getting back just because of what he brings defensively.
Right.
Now, if he does start shooting threes this year, it might change my thought.
I
But
really think he will.
if he actually does, if he does start shooting threes, it would definitely change my thought. But the offense that Wemby can bring with the defensive ability he had, did he finish second in Defensive Player of the Year, Vic?
Yes, because Bam finished third.
Okay. So with that being and just kind of the offensive versatility that Wemby has, that's the only reason I gave him the edge. And like I said, I hate having Bam like that. At first I had Bam higher, and then I was like, if we're predicting Wemby, we know alien, whatever, generational, I think he can play a lot better next year. And the Spurs really didn't do anything. Chris Paul. They didn't bring in Chris Paul. Yep. So that'll help. I think that'll help him a lot. You know, mention Chicana just to have a vet kind of helping him better than Jeremy Sohan running the point guard.
Definitely.
So that'll definitely, I believe, help him. But yeah, it was really a toss-up between the two. I just kind of had Wemby a little bit higher, just kind of the versatility. And we are projecting, and we'll see.
Yeah, I get it. And now I'm sitting here like Wemby's going to have the better stats. Sabonis had better stats than Bam. A lot of these guys on this list have better counting stats than Bam does.
Right.
Offensively, he's had his struggles at times, but he was a good mid-range shooter last season. And I think the trajectory with him starting to implement the 3-point shot, like literally, we saw him in the Olympics shoot like 3 or 4 3-point attempts per game.
See, if he does that, it changes. It'll change my thought. But
he was making them.
Yeah,
he was making them. I mean, he shot 0.6%. I mean, 0.6 attempts from 3 last season, but he shot 36%. So he wasn't, just terrible.
He is doing it more. I admit he is doing it more.
Yeah, I think the Heat will need that though. I think the Heat will need that if they want to, be back towards the top of the East.
Yeah, they will. What do you think attempts? 3 or 4 a game?
I don't know if it jumps that significantly. I think it'll be between like 2.5 and 3. That's what I would project. If
he can average 1 a game, that still does change a lot, kind of.
Yeah.
So I definitely see the point of it. And like I said, it was a real conversation that I had to have. Like
the only reason why I kept Bam over Wemby is because I think next year will be the best year of Bam Adebayo's career. That's what I think.
I can see that. It's not a contract year for him, is it?
I don't know.
I know
now, every year past this year, assuming Wemby is on the trajectory that we think he is, Wemby's gonna be high. Yeah. I kept Bam at 4.
Yeah, I had him at 5, but because I hate doing it. I hate it, but just how good Wemby was his rookie year, I'm projecting a lot, I would say.
I get it. I understand it.
Nothing wrong with projecting a guy 7'4" that can do almost everything. So.
Yeah, I like it. I like that you're doing that. I kind of expected you to have him that high. I really did think you would go 3, though. I thought you'd put him over our 3 guy since you were putting him this high.
There was a thought.
I feel like that definitely would have been a stretch at this point, though.
Yeah, it would have been a stretch, yeah. I thought about it, but I was like, that's stretching it way too far. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 3.
Same 3.
Yeah, number 3 is Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Number 3 is AD. He was our number 3 last year. Top 3, I expect to be the same as last year, especially after the last episode, you saying you have Jokic as your best player in the world still.
Yeah.
But yeah, AD had a really good year last year, and that should not go unnoticed. He had a really, really good year. He played 76 games, everyone. 76 games. That's the most games he has ever played in a single season in his career.
I'm about to say that a career high.
Yeah. 76 games, 25 points. He averaged 13 rebounds. He was right behind Sabonis in rebounds.
Right.
3.5 assists, 2.5 blocks, all defensive first team. He's his 3-point attempts have gone down ever since like the championship year. I think that's for the best because he has not shot it well over the past few years. So when he has tried to stretch the floor, it's only been to like the mid-range level. But he's been a monster on the glass. He's been a defensive anchor that the Lakers have needed to, have any sort of defensive prowess, I feel like. Yeah. Without Anthony Davis on the floor, they are a really bad defensive team. He's the best player on that team, in my opinion, despite LeBron still being great. And they need him to be at his best if they want any chance of competing. And even last year, whenever he was at his best, they lost in the first round.
Yeah. I think there's a chance he could average 30 points this year, close to it.
He hasn't averaged more than 26 since his first year in LA.
Okay.
So I feel like that's a high ask.
The only reason I would say that high is because they might get LeBron to do less just because of his age, which we know probably won't happen. He's going to probably still do a lot.
Right, as long as he's on the floor.
Right. But they didn't really bring in anybody to help. Kind of, I guess, if you want to see if AR kind of takes a jump, if Don connects and, see how good he is as rookie year, that's about all they
Ronnie, let's see what you got.
Yeah, so I think he'll get at least 25 again, if not more. But, yeah, I didn't think – the 76 games did surprise me when I saw it because you don't think – when you see a number that high, you don't think of Anthony Davis.
Not at all.
So, yeah, he's probably – I wouldn't say that, but, yeah. Defensively, we know what he brings. One of the best rim protectors, he really defensive players overall. So, yeah, I couldn't go any higher with him. Couldn't get any lower.
Yeah, 3 is the perfect spot for him. It was the perfect spot for him last year. I don't expect him to play 76 games, so I don't see how he could jump to 2 or 1 over the top 2 guys. Right. But I think as long as Wemby doesn't jump into all second team NBA territory, then his 3 spot is cemented for another season.
Yeah. Yeah. If Wemby's in as long as he's not in MVP talks, then the Spurs a 7 seed.
Yeah. 1 and 2. Number 2. Going with your guy. Are you going with your guy? Joel Embiid?
Yeah.
Going with Joel at number 2. Did you have Joel at 2 or 1 last year?
I want to say 2. I would
say. I think that makes sense, especially after the night.
I am one of the ones that doesn't really think it's a big gap at all. I'm trying to find it.
See, the more that I watch them, the more that I've watched those 2 over time, the more differences in their game that I've found. So yeah, talent for talent wise, I don't think it's that big of a gap, but they do play so differently that I have made visible distinctions in their games. Right. And it is what vaults Jokic over Embiid to this point. Also, Jokic is just on the floor more than Embiid is too, which definitely helps. But yeah, Joel, numbers wise, was
if he played the full year last year, it might have been different for me. Just because the pace he was on last year.
Numbers wise, he had a better or on par statistical season with Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
35 points, round up, 34.7, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. It's high. I believe
best 3-point shooting season.
Yeah, I believe the assist was highest of his career too. I believe he had 5.5 last year.
Yep, sure is.
So before the injury, he was on pace, probably for another MVP. He was averaging more points than minutes. So if he would have finished out the whole year, he might have been higher for me. But yeah, like I said, Jokic is the best player in the world. And like I said, some nights it does feel like it flip-flops, kind of depending on the night. Because, we've seen Joel go out and get 70 points against the best defense. Or, no, 70 was against Vic. It's kind of crazy to say. But yeah, I couldn't put him at 1. But, yeah, he had a lot of career numbers last year. And for me, I think being a Philly fan, kind of wanting us to play a different way, I expect a lot of those numbers to go down, bringing in Paul George. And as a fan, you kind of want it to go down. You don't really want to use him as much as you have before, just to keep him healthy, because that's what he did last year. It was a tough stretch. He came back trying to help win games and went back out again. So,
yeah, I would expect him to, especially in the regular season. I don't think winning games will be a problem for them. So maybe
I don't think he'll average 30 points this year. I don't think.
Yeah, I think that they should. I think they should try to take like a note out of the Boston Celtics notebook and kind of dial it back a little bit. If you need him to like be MVP mode, I feel like only when necessary.
Right.
And I feel like you're a good enough team where you can do that. Yeah. Maybe you're not the 1 seed in the East because of it, but I think the most important thing at this point is for him being at his best and healthy going into playoff time.
Right. And he I think very well, I think we both agree he had his best playoff performance last year. It was 1 series. But he was hurt during that on 1 knee. So, yeah, you want him to stay healthy. And maybe another maxi jump happens, but the biggest thing is Paul George over Tobias Harris. So, your guy, Tobias Harris. So, I really do hope his numbers do go down. He does take not a step back, but like you said, when he needs to dominate, he can. But you don't want him doing that every night like the past 8-9 years.
Right. It's not a winning formula. It's just not a consistent winning formula if you're trying to win a championship.
Yeah, last year when he played, I think how many games he was 35? No. It was some crazy number when he played. Like we had like a point or like a 70% win percentage. It was something crazy like that. But yeah, you do want to see that go down.
Yeah. And of course, Jokic is number 1.
Yep.
26, 12, and 9, the MVP of the league last season. Crazy to see the Nuggets lose in the second round of the playoffs. Still, like, my mind can't really process how they lost to the Timberwolves. I think that's just a testament to how hot and how well the Timberwolves were playing defensively towards the end of last season. But I expect Jokic to have another MVP level year. I expect his numbers to be about the same.
Yeah,
I don't have any reason to believe why that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't be the case. Now, when we get to Western Conference standings, I do have some things to say about the Denver Nuggets because I am kind of shook on them as a team. Right. I don't feel great about the state of their team right now. But as long as Jokic is there, they'll be in the playoffs and they'll be competing at the highest level, and he'll be the best player on the floor.
Right. Yeah. I think he will have MVP numbers. He'll kind of have to. I'm with you on a lot of things to say about Denver.
Yeah, I think the one redeeming factor is that regardless of who's on the floor with him, he just makes everybody better by being on the floor. Right. So when he is on the floor, it's not really a thing. It's when he's off the floor where the issues become apparent.
Yeah, that's like another him and Embiid thing that I've always looked at. They're both off the floor. You can tell the difference. It's really a big difference. But yeah, Jokic kind of 79 games last year. I don't think he played that many, but he doesn't seem to really miss a lot.
Not at all.
But like you said, he makes everybody better. It's just questions with that team. So I think he will have MVP numbers again.
Most definitely. That's it. That's the lists. The position lists have been completed. And standings is next. I've been so excited. I can't contain my excitement for standings. I suppose that we'll start with Eastern Conference like we have the last couple of years and do Western Conference after that. That sound good with you, Jacob?
Yes, sir. Media day is tomorrow.
Media day is tomorrow, yeah. Everything gets started tomorrow. Most teams have their training camp starting either tomorrow or the next day. Yeah, preseason games in Abu Dhabi are on Friday. It's like the Celtics and the Nuggets, I think.
This Friday?
Yeah. So they've already had their media
Yeah,
days.
I
Those
know
two
they had
teams.
it last week. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, everything's getting started. It's about that time. It's about that time to start ramping up. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I'm glad we're starting with the East. I'm gonna need extra thinking in the West.
Yeah. With all this news about the Knicks, it's definitely altered my point of view. Originally, I'll go ahead and let this tidbit of information be out there. I had the Knicks as my 3 seed before the trade. They might be higher now.
I think I had them as my 2 or 3, but looking more into it, I don't know because I really didn't realize Mitchell Robinson was going to miss this much time that he's going to miss. I don't know the timeline, but I know it is a little bit.
But yeah, we'll have that next episode.
The next conversation.
We only have a few weeks away from the season, so I figure we'll go standings and then we'll do like a hot takes episode and like awards that we usually do. Might combine those into one episode depending on what the time allows. But yeah, y'all be on the lookout for that. Other than that, thanks for tuning in for this one. Position lists have been fun as always. I expect them to differentiate from what happens in the regular season a lot. Yeah. Last year, I just can't shake that we had Josh Giddey as a top 10 small forward going into last year. We both did. So maybe we were 1 year off. Maybe this is his year.
Yeah, I don't know
Chicago. He just needed a change of scenery. That's all.
We'll see.
Yeah. Other than that, Jacob, you got anything else to add before we close the show today?
That's it.
Wait. Why am I on Joel Embiid's basketball reference page and he has a jersey with the number 24 on it? Am I missing something?
Was it his rookie year?
No, it's after the 21 jersey. Joel Embiid number change?
Not that I know of.
It might be a typo. I don't know. We'll go ahead. We'll close this episode up today. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace out.
Yeah.